PHA, PHA, PHA.
So Dr. Josyula Shekar is a pioneer in cleaning sciences in India, being the first qualified specialist in his line of work. He has made extraordinary efforts in teaching cleaning science at grassroots levels. Am I loud enough? Yes. But thank you. I think we'd rather not take this. I hope we come back by the time Dr. speaks. So, he has made extraordinary efforts in teaching cleaning science at grassroots levels in catering schools and management institutes in his long career of 30 years. Especially able persons across the corporate industry apart from his own company. We need a round of applause for that good cause that he's been doing, I guess, guys. You want me to know? His training workshops are highly popular and renowned in the market. Today he leads his team of over 1,500 members in delivering quality service to several hotels, including the Taj Group, Marriott's, Sheraton, Tata Trust hospitals, etc., in multiple areas, including guest room management. Dr. Shekar has been a multifaceted personality, has also dabbled in art, theatre, and films. Dr. Shekar, we must listen a few lines of your singing as well, please. I mean, we've seen you on Facebook, and we've seen a lot of programs that you have. Please, sir, please. You can start the culturals and just leave probably after that. Anywhere. Yeah, please, okay, thank you. Dr. Shekar, thank you for that. Yeah, we'd love to hear you sing as well. So as I said, he's dabbled in art. He has also been in theatre, films, and his achievements have earned him several recognitions, including the Helen Keller Award, Rotary Award for Excellence, Role Model Entrepreneur by IERDA, Big Chennaiite Award, and has been conferred a doctorate for his efforts in environmental entrepreneurship. I mean, this is tiring for me to read. I think I must give him a round of applause again. Thank you. This will make us a little active. We had good food till here. So let's just okay. So he has been recently awarded as an Indian icon in leadership along with his company Zevana Integrated Services. And he always likes to mention definitely that he's been a proud PHA member for the longest and has always been wishing good to this organization. Dr. Josyula, could we please have you on stage for the motivational talk? Thank you.
Good afternoon, all of you. And first of all, let me congratulate Jayashree Nagaraj and everyone who has been a pillar of support for her, for having this wonderful event organized yet again, I would say. And despite the fact that Jayashree is not present, her team has ensured that the absence is not felt for all of us. So congratulations to all of you. And it's actually a very rush show, the PHA meet. Every time they plan, I'm sure there are too many things to happen, and there's very little time. So I will not take much time of all of you, and I have about 10 minutes, and I'm supposed to talk on a subject of leadership with an edge, which is what we call transformative leadership. So I will not have much to say in 10 minutes, but I would like to just introduce the actual terminology that we use and what is meant by transformative leadership. So I'm sure this is a little away from the housekeeping training that we normally do, the training on hygiene or safety and cleaning services. This is a little different, but we have a training division called Lead and Partner, and in Lead and Partner we have different subjects of training. And this is something close to my heart because we've grown up from housekeepers to being leaders, and there are several people here sitting out here who have walked the same path. And I'm proud that I'm sharing this stage. And it's an honor to be actually standing in front of so many housekeepers here who've been, a means for me to learn a lot about my line of work. The good thing about PHA is always that I end up meeting all of them here. Then we catch up over a cup of tea, like a few of them are walking around there here. We have a cup of tea, then we promise each other that we'll catch up later in Chennai or Bombay, wherever. And the next day we again meet back in PHA with the same promises. Right, so I will use this cordless mic. Yeah, I think this would be better for me. Okay, so we will move into this very quick insight into what this PHA session has been used for the next 10 minutes on transformative power of leadership. So it's a little different. It's not going to be the same as leadership exercises that we do or the knowledge we have. I'm sure and I'm confident that many of you here have already been transformative leaders in your own way. And there probably is nothing new that I'm going to explain to all of you or teach all of you. But as housekeepers, as building managers, as facility managers, as future managers, general managers or whatever of your organizations, it is important that we not only just have a technical competence, but we also have a managerial skill. And we always say in our business line, in our kind of service that we do, that you need to be good technically, you need to be competitive commercially, you need to be competitive in terms of your professionalism. You have to have the edge over others. And it's not important just to be knowledgeable in our line of work, but it also is important to have the knowledge of managing people. So leadership is all about managing people, and I think that's what we are here for. So, oh, it's in my hands, yes. So which one is back, which one is front? Let me move, okay. All right, I think that's good enough. So I would definitely do a small story for a minute, which is a real life incident where I come from. So when we were working in hotels, and I started my hotel career in front office. So it had nothing to do with housekeeping, and we had no idea what it meant. But in front office, we had a situation where about 240 room property, if I remember, and we were a bunch of youngsters trying to impress upon everybody that we were dynamic hoteliers. We were carried away by the ties and blazers and the guests coming in. But within no time, I think all our efforts were found to be useless, because we were the most abused by the guests. We were the most abused by the bosses. And the pressure on us to be hospitable in a hospitality industry was increasing. And I remember our team had a wonderful boss. We loved him. We loved him to bits. And he used to be very friendly. But he also used to be a manager who was extremely sensitive to guest issues and guest complaints. So you all might attach yourself to the good old days of hotels, and I emphasize that, good old days of hotels, where guest meant everything for a hotelier. And here was this manager who would tell us to be silent in front of the guest, not to react, not to answer back, just to keep smiling, just to keep honoring the guest. And we went through this, and we ended up giving a huge amount of gifts as compliments. So anybody who would come and bang their hand on the counter, he would get a free cake in his room. Then we'll send a champagne bottle to his room. We were trained in such a way that hospitality industry means that we have to bow down and listen to our guests and understand his needs, because that's the way the guests behave. And that is how we were trained. Well, the hotel was doing about, I would say, 40-50% of occupancy at most times. And we would not understand what was all that, except that we were asked to give the ARRs at the end of the day. And we did all the works in the night and found out the datas were like X amount, let's say, for example, 1,000 rupees per night. And then suddenly this manager got transferred, and we had another manager with us. The same group of team, same team people. We had a different manager who came to work for us. And here was this gentleman who would get very upset when we overdid our hospitality to a customer. And here was a manager who would tell us, listen, service is chargeable. Service is not free. You deliver service to the value that you get from the guest. It was a completely contradictory way of how we were trained. And he would never send a champagne bottle to the room. He would never give a piece of cake to any customer. He will tell the customer in front of us about the hotel, the quality, the assurance of service, and he would tell the customer that if you want A service, you got to pay for A. You want B service, you got to pay for B. You can't expect A service by paying B. You know, this is the kind of culture that we were transformed from one manager to another manager. Well, the conclusion of what happened eventually, I will tell you at the end of this session. So this is a story that I will always remember in my life when you when you are a manager, when we become a manager, as to how you approach your business. So this is one aspect of, I don't know which way it is going. Right. So we feel leadership, as we know, is subjective. It's individual. A person who's leading an organization might have his fan following on one side. There would be many of the employees who would probably feel that they are not the right kind of manager. So it's very subjective. And being a leader, trust me, is an individual quality. It is a quality that can be trained to you only to a limited extent. But it is an inborn quality that shows up at the right time, at the right places for the right kind of results. So there are many combinations like this that make you a leader. There are many analyses in the world about how leaders are made, how you can become a leader. But essentially, leadership comes from the quality that you imbibe as a family person, as a person socially moving, as a person who understands the company's needs. Well, but there are definitely two things about leadership. One is poor leadership, and one is a smart leadership. Poor leadership obviously will show these kind of symptoms that we have, and anybody experiencing this can understand what I'm saying. Ineffective recruitments, that means wrong recruitments, wrong kind of people working for you. Poor or non-existent communication that we see within the team. I'm talking about within the team. There'll be poor communications. Distrust among members. There are people who would love to work with each other as a family, but you will have a lot of distress that you can see. Silent dissent. Silent dissent is something like they're scared of you as a boss. They would not want to talk to you, say anything to you, but somewhere deep inside, they hate the fact that you're the boss. So there is a silent dissent, so they will never probably heed any of your advices or what you're saying. And then there are isolated working. There are some people who would work in groups and they do a wonderful job. Some people who work in groups and do a pathetic job. Good people end up doing poor jobs. Poor people end up doing poorer jobs. You know, this is what happens with isolated working. And they have a fear at work. They do not carry out their work with confidence. And wherever you see workers who are restless in terms of knowledge, they probably will grow, of course. But wherever you find workers who cannot think straight at work, who are showing fear, are definitely symptoms of poor leadership. And then end of the day, what you get is this mediocre results. And that's what we are looking at. So the result of these symptoms are obviously very terrible for an organization. Because at every level, there is a manager. At every level, there's a manager. And end of the day, the owner of the business or the head of the business would face these kind of results. One is a toxic environment, which can go uncontrollable, demotivated workforce, demoralized workforce, very high attritions because nobody would like to continue to working in that kind of situation, negative feedbacks from everybody, including colleagues. You'll find this happening with poor leadership, poor results of your business, lot of infighting, lot of contradicting statements, contradicting information that reaches out, communications can go wrong, and eventually it will be destruction of the company. And this model is seen in most of the businesses which fail. And if you analyze deeper, people say businesses fail only because of cash flows, because of commercial situations. Now the latest trend is, yes, my business failed because of COVID. It's got nothing to do with it. There are a lot of things where you kill your own business because of poor leadership. Well then, there's always a time to change. Today's subject being transformative leadership is not something new. I can assure you, it's been I think more than 100 since leadership ever the word was framed. This is very popular. So it's not about something. Leadership is not something about who can change these kind of poor results, but how can that person change? And that's transformative leadership for you. And that effort that goes into that is transformative. So there are good leaders, there are transformative leaders. So as just three of these things say, if you have a boss, he will say, just go and do that work. A leader will always say, come, let's go and do that work. But a transformative leader will say, I will show you how to go there, I will show you how to do the work, and I will do it along with you so we get the results together. So where do you go from saying go to I will show you how to go? That's transformative leadership. And remember that there's no organization, there is no teamwork that ever can be done individually. However great we might think we are, whatever our background is, whatever our experience is, wherever we come from, we might come from Mars with the best AI with us. But end of the day, your organization is only as good as the team that you get. And it's a true truth that we face, including me. We might all be very good right at the top, but if that bottom guy doesn't function and if that chain doesn't happen, we all face the rot. So what is transformative leadership that we are talking about today? So it's a consistent ability to inspire employees to strive beyond their required expectations so they work towards a shared vision. Every single person of your team who believes in the same vision, objective of quality, success, commercial, whatever, technical, that is the team that takes the company to the pinnacle of success. And if they do it consistently together, then that's the result of a good transformative manager. So what are the traits of transformative leader? One, an inspirator. He should be an inspiration. He should be a person who influences, which means that there are, I'm sure you will agree, many of you, there will be you'll have a lot of staff who would say, I would love to be like my boss. They would like to imbibe the aspects that you have, the characters that you have. They would like to imbibe the characteristics that you show towards your work, the same behavior. They would like to dress like you. They would like to talk like you. They would like to behave like you. This is inspiration. You stand as a leader to try to take people forward along with you, not actually doing it deliberately, but you set an example where they lead by you. And that's inspiring leadership. Intellectual stimulation, which means that sadly most of the leaders, because of their experience or the position or authority, think that they only have the eventual and ultimate knowledge about what they're doing, but their staff don't have. So decision making ends up with the manager, but decision making will never be entrusted to the staff. Accountability and responsibility will come only when you give the person the freedom and the right to think, the authority to think, to consider, to evaluate, to provide options. So that is an intellectual stimulation. Making the other person stand in the same position that you are and asking him, what would you do in this situation when I am there? Allow him to stimulate his mind, replicate situations, try to give you answers, solutions. You never know what opportunities they have. You never know what solutions they will have. Always give an opportunity to listen to people. When a staff knocks on your door and say, I had a complaint with an X guest, Y guest or whatever, ask him, what was the complaint? Ask him how you want to deal with it. Ask him how you would like to handle that. Ask him how you would like to be treated if he was in the same position. Allow his mind to exercise. See the kind of pride he carries with that. So a good leader would definitely do that. And of course, carrying a lot of positivity with them. I mean, there are too many things in our lives that actually demotivate us. Now the pressure of business, the pressure of your managers will demotivate you further. But a manager who doesn't have positivity, even when he sees the most negative things happening in front of him, that person could never be a good manager because he will spread the same kind of negativity amongst his staff. So positivity is something that a good leader should carry within himself. Empathy and respect, well, it's not supposed to be demanded or commanded. It should actually be very natural by the staff to actually come and respect you, to show empathy to the kind of vision that you have. You have to show the same empathy towards the staff to understand what is the culture they come from, what are the knowledge they come from, and try to see if you can marry all of these together. And yes, a good decision maker, leaders who hesitate to make decisions, they can sow the seeds of doubt in the minds of their staff. Because remember, the staff would probably already have the solution before you. Never underestimate that. He might be working with you so much, he might be working with the problem so much. He would have already got the solution. By you delaying the decision, delaying the solution, he will start having doubts about your leadership and you cannot lead. Then he will start leading you. His mind will start leading by itself, and that's disrespect. And then we have emotional intelligence. Well, it's an ocean of a subject, but what is emotional intelligence is to see where you draw the line between characterizing a human being, an employee, from his actual emotional requirements to his professional requirements. So that's all I can say right now. It's a thin line that you can draw between that. Recognizing that and utilizing that is the good leader's ability. And of course, good communication. I'm a man who believes that communication is the only way you can survive in this world. And lack of communications can kill a business. It can kill a relationship. So good communications, timely communication is what is important. So just the last few points, I think. We are on time, I hope. So make yourself aware to be a transformational leader, to move a person from X to Y situation to move him from negative to positive, to move him from a hesitant worker to a positive worker means you have to be aware of situations. You have to be aware of the dynamics of the business, the dynamics of the market. Don't just understand a person and say, understand what you're capable of, so I will go along with you. No, you have to make efforts to change them. Before that, you have to be aware of what circumstances he's from. So understand that, be empathetic in a broader perspective. And late realization, probably, maybe a little too late, as I say, be aware of the trends in your guest profile, client profile, whatever, expectation, technology. If you are behind in the knowledge of competence, technical competence or whatever, client competence or market competence, don't expect your staff to actually be quiet. They can teach you a few new things about technology. Be aware that not everyone comes from where you come from. That's something that we find very often, We always think we are the greatest. I've been in this line for so many years. I'm standing here in this position after all this hard work. I got X medals, Y medals. More than awards, it's the rewards that's important, as we know. A good leader believes that, and the reward comes from the people who recognize him. And to say that, yes, I learned from you. Yes, you are my idol. Yes, this is what I learned and this is what I'm implementing. That's a reward. Awards can keep coming. Awards can be hanging on your walls. That's different. Be aware that your employees have certain abilities, certain disabilities. This is again, leadership is not bossing over. Leadership is not, मैं बता रहा हूं तुम करो. I'm telling you just do it. No, that's not leadership. Leadership is to understand that if you want X task to be done by someone who doesn't meet the traits of understanding the task or competence is not there, it's a wrong person, you're knocking on the doors. Identify your employees for their strengths. Use them for their strength. Nurture their abilities. Help them overcome their disabilities. A transformative manager is someone who spends time to understand his employees, because a transformative manager, first and foremost, will spend time preparing his team in his mind. For that, he has to understand each and every employee. He needs to know X, Y, Z in the company. It's not that 150 people or 50 people can be remembered by a boss, but then he has to understand his immediate circle, the next immediate circle at least, to know where he's leading them and what he's doing. So transformation takes time. You have to sculpt your employees. It's not something that will happen overnight. Leadership will happen overnight. Being bossy will happen immediately. But transformative leadership can only have its effect over a period of time. There is no leader, you name it, no leader whom you know as successful has become a leader by just being one. He has been a transformative leader. And any kind of transformation takes time. A good food takes time to cook. You can't hurry up. So it takes a lot of time to prepare, to nurture your team, and nothing happens in our organization without those team members. So all I would like to say is transformative leadership is to make yourself live in the work life of those who work for you. That means you got to put yourself in the shoes of the people who are working for you. They're not cattle. They're not people who are just wearing uniforms to just listen to your dictums because you think something is right. They're people who are involved with you. They're the people who can make you successful or they'll fail you. So a transformative leader will understand that and try to move them towards his own goals. You have to nurture them. You have to move them. You have to make them like you. You got to be selfish. You got to be greedy. You got to be smart. You got to be thinking. You've got to be a transformative leader for that. These are the people who realize the need for change. Do we have to change? Yes. Make those changes and make the changed worker work for your vision. I think that's the transformative leadership that we are looking at today. Every organization needs this. Housekeepers are no behind, hoteliers are no behind. And I think it's the most important that if you have these kind of traits. So here are some of the names that you might want to go back and do your work on how they transformed their company. There are people who probably put themselves in dirty shoes and moved their employees to a higher level. Many of these things. These are, of course, not business people, but you know, our own father of the nation, Mahatma Gandhi, as we know him, has influenced the entire country to move in his direction. That's transformative leadership. To make sure that the team will follow your dreams. Nelson Mandela or Lake Wałęsa, Subhash Chandra Bose. I mean, Lake Wałęsa's story is amazing in Poland. So you should be able to go and read that out to learn more about this. And then we have a whole lot of new gen leaders there who all been successful, not because they were cash rich, not because they're politically connected, but because they had they found the need for transformative leadership. And that's the only way it works. If they had just taken over from where their predecessors had left, they probably would have remained leaders struggling to cope up with the teams that they have. So transformation, my friends, is all about change, and it's never too late to start. So I guess it's today, though it's not something new, it's something we need to sit back and think. If you find yourself at any point of time that you're not able to achieve something, you're not able to make your people do something, then there must be something that you need to transform. And to transform others, you need to transform yourself. To change others, we need to change ourselves. A smart manager is a transformative manager. A manager who knows how to reach a particular goal will ensure that he works hard to take his team along with him. It is his team who will push him to that goal. He alone cannot walk to that goal. So that's transformation for all of you. If you have questions for a couple of minutes, I'll wind up my session. So I guess there are no questions. So thanks to all again, once again, for having me out here on the stage and for giving me this opportunity. And I hope PHA will keep growing and more success to them. Best wishes to each and everyone. And yes, the last part of that story I started off, the end result was very simple between the two managers. The hotel, which we didn't know, with the second manager, the hotel was showing 90% occupancy, higher average room rates, higher profitability, floors that were not used were blocked, lesser number of employees, more profits for the employees, for the owner. And we employees were happy because we were finally told that we can look up at a guest in his eye and tell him that, sir, we are here to serve you, provided you pay for it. I'm not going to do anything free for you. It's difficult for some people to understand in hospitality, but with this, I'll say thanks again. All the best for all of you. That's some error in my script. No, it's a different avatar that I have for music, and I love, Jayashree will always keep asking me. I said, yes, definitely one of these PHA meets that we have, we should have only a mehfil. We should not have all these speeches.
Let it be today, sir.
And no, not today, because there are a lot of things that are taking time. But I love to entertain all of you at some point of time with our music, and I will promise I do that as soon as possible.
Thank you.
But this time you have, it's already 3:30. A lot of people are waiting for other sessions. But thanks so much for giving the opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. So please stay back on the stage. Please stay back, sir. So a round of applause again for Dr. Shekar. Probably as we move out of the stalls, of the event, we will be wee bit transformed. And we also understand that leadership is not about being dictatorial with anybody. I guess it's all about being kind, being polite, being nice, being understanding. Thank you, Doctor. May I request Nirupama, ma'am, to felicitate Dr. Shekar. Thank you.
PHA, 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 PHA. Whoa, whoa, whoa.